When I stepped into that packed courtroom in my faded navy suit from another era, my son let out a snicker he couldn't quite stifle, and my daughter-in-law rolled her eyes with that signature look of pity mixed with disdain. She whispered something to him, probably about how I looked like a relic from a thrift store bin. But then the judge lifted his head from the stack of documents, and his expression shifted from routine boredom to sheer shock. His fingers tightened around the edge of the bench, and in a voice barely above a hush that cut through the room like a knife, he said, "Holy hell, is that really you?" Every head swiveled toward the gray-haired guy in the scuffed loafers. Nobody there had a clue about my real history. Until that split second, they all thought the guy they were labeling as a doddering fool was just some retired nobody. But to grasp how I ended up watching my own kin get let out in chains, we've got to rewind to the day everything I built got ripped away. My name's Jack Harlan. I'm 72 now, holed up in a ranch house on the edge of Austin, Texas, that I pieced together board by board back in the 80s. Lived there solo for the last 8 months since my wife Elena lost her battle with cancer. Left the place feeling like a cavernous echo chamber. Every creak in the floorboards reminded me of her footsteps. Every empty chair at the table a ghost of our shared meals. It was a crisp Wednesday at 6:45 a.m., sun just peeking over the horizon, casting long shadows across the dusty fields. I was at the old oak table Elena and I refinished together, nursing a bowl of oatmeal gone cold and a thermos of straight black tea. Elena always ribbed me about it, saying I drank it like it was penance for some unspoken sin. "Jack, you're torturing yourself with that tar," she'd laugh, her eyes sparkling. But it was an old habit from my days as a federal agent with the FBI, burning the midnight oil, tracking down the worst of the worst. Smugglers, kingpins, the shadows that lurked in the underbelly of society. I was mid-bite, the spoon halfway to my mouth, when the back door flew open with no warning, no courtesy knock, just the jangle of keys turning in the lock I'd installed myself, and the stomp of boots invading my peace like an unwelcome raid. My heart kicked into overdrive, instincts from decades in the field screaming alarm. I jumped up, my chair scraping back with a harsh screech against the worn linoleum, pulse racing like it was a breach in a safe house. Thought maybe burglars, my mind flashing to the revolver stashed in the study drawer, the one I'd carried through ops that left scars both seen and unseen. But no, it was worse than any cartel hit squad. It was my son, Derek, and his wife, Lila, backed by a pair of burly guys in crisp gray scrubs who looked more like enforcers than caregivers, their arms crossed, eyes scanning the room like they were assessing threats. Derek had on his usual tech bro uniform, slim-fit shirt tucked into designer jeans, a smartwatch gleaming on his wrist, but his face was set in stone, no trace of the boy I taught to ride a bike in that very yard. Lila avoided my gaze, fiddling with her pearl necklace, dressed in a sharp blazer and slacks like she was heading to a board meeting rather than a family ambush. "What the hell is this?" I demanded, my voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through me, the same tone I'd used to stare down suspects in interrogation rooms. Derek didn't flinch. He just tossed a fat envelope onto the table, right into my oatmeal, the papers absorbing the milky residue. It landed with a thud that echoed in the quiet kitchen. "Sit down, Pop," he said, like I was a kid in timeout, his tone dripping with that impatient superiority he'd cultivated since striking out on his own. Not Dad, not even Jack, just Pop, laced with condescension that made my blood simmer. The papers were an emergency conservatorship order, rubber-stamped by some judge that morning, based on affidavits full of half-truths and outright lies. They were hauling me away, claiming I couldn't handle myself anymore, that the ranch was too much for an old man losing his grip. Elena finally piped up, her eyes fixed on the peeling wallpaper near the window. "Dad, the house is falling apart. You're forgetting appointments, leaving lights on all night. We found you wandering the yard last week at midnight. This is for your safety. We're doing this because we love you." Rage boiled up inside me, hot and sharp, like the flash of a muzzle in a dark alley. Those incidents were setups, carefully orchestrated to build their case. The wandering? I'd stepped out to check a suspicious noise in the barn, but Derek had rigged a motion light to glitch and flicker, making it look like confusion when they found me. The appointments? Lila had reminded me of fake doctor's visits, documenting my no-shows as evidence of memory loss. And the lights? A timer I'd set myself for security, twisted into proof of wastefulness. I saw Derek smirk, that smug curl of his lip, and he leaned in close, his aftershave cloying and artificial, overwhelming the familiar scent of the kitchen. "Face it, old-timer," he whispered, low enough the goons couldn't hear. "This spread's worth a fortune, prime for development with all that untapped potential underground. My firm's bleeding cash. We need to flip it quick before the creditors come knocking and take everything we built." There it was, greed, raw and unfiltered, stripped of any pretense of concern. Not about my health, my safety, just dollars, cold and hard. The land Elena and I cherished, where her ashes were scattered under the old pecan tree she loved, reduced to a quick buck to bail out his failing app startup that promised the world but delivered debt. He'd been hinting for months. "Sell the ranch, Pop. Move to a condo in the city. Let me handle the investments." I'd refused every time. This was our sanctuary, where Elena's ashes were scattered under the vast Texas sky, where her memory lingered in every wildflower patch and sunset view, reduced to a quick buck to bail out his failing app startup. "Get out," I growled, my voice low and dangerous, the one that had made hardened criminals confess. "I know my rights. Emergency order needs proof of immediate harm, and there's none here." I lunged for the landline on the wall, fingers inches from the receiver, ready to dial an old bureau contact who could unravel this in hours. But one of the orderlies blocked me, a wall of muscle and polyester, his grip like iron on my shoulder. Derek chuckled, a dry, mirthless sound that grated like nails on chalkboard. "Look at this mess. Expired food in the fridge, dust bunnies under the table, self-neglect, Pop. The judge bought it hook, line, and sinker, said you're a hazard living in this squalor." I shouted back that the expired cans were from a bulk buy, perfectly fine. But facts didn't matter. Their narrative was locked in, lies piled on lies like a house of cards built on sand. I glanced at Leela, pleading silently. "Remember the Christmases here, the tire swing and the oak, the father-in-law who funded your wedding?" She turned away, hugging her arms tight as if the room's air was poisoned. I decided to fight. 72 or not, I wasn't frail. Grew up on ranches, survived ops that left partners in graves. I twisted free, dodging between the goons toward the front door. But age betrayed me. One grabbed my wrist, yanking it back with professional brutality. Pain exploded up my arm, white hot, forcing me double over the table, face pressed to the wood still warm from my breakfast. Felt the sting of a needle in my neck, cold fire spreading. "Dose him heavy," Derek ordered, nodding to the syringe wielder. "Can't have him kicking up a fuss during transport." The world tilted, legs turning to jelly as they dragged me across the floor I'd laid myself. My old hound, Rusty, stirred from his spot by the stove, barking in confusion, tail wagging uncertainly as he padded over. Derek didn't hesitate. He lashed out with a kick, boot connecting with Rusty's side, sending the dog yelping across the room into the cabinets. That sound, my loyal companion's cry of pain, shattered something the betrayal hadn't touched. I tried to roar, to curse him, promise retribution, but my tongue was lead, vision tunneling to black. Last sight, Derek smoothing his shirt, grabbing my keys from the hook, surveying the kitchen like a conqueror. Leela stepped over my fallen hat without a glance. They bundled me into a private van, straps biting into my skin.
As the engine growled and we pulled away from my haven, I whispered a vow to Elena in the fading light. I'd break free, return, and unleash a storm they'd never weather. They thought they'd caged a frail geezer. They'd awakened the ghost of Agent Harlan, the man who'd made empires crumble. The rumble of tires on asphalt yanked me from the haze, the sedative a beast clawing at my edges, fogging thoughts like smoke in a firefight. But I'd trained for worse, interrogation resistance courses back in the bureau, where they taught you to play dead while plotting escape. Kept my eyes shut, breaths shallow and even, a trick from '92 when I was undercover in a cartel den. If they thought me out, they'd talk freely. And talk they did. Up front, voices drifted back. Derek on a call, barking about asset liquidation and covering the shortfall before the board pulls the plug. His tone manic, edged with desperation I'd heard in perps facing life sentences. Call ended. He turned to Leela. "Quit snifflin', babe. We had no choice. The order's legit. Signed off this morning." Her voice cracked, trembling like a witness on the stand. But his face, Derek, he looked so betrayed, so hurt. Did you see his eyes right before the needle? It was like he hated us. Derek scoffed, the sound cutting. "He's checked out, Leela. Doctor's report says dementia's advanced, confused, aggressive, hoarding junk. We're heroes here, saving him from burning the place down or starving in his own filth." Heroes. The irony burned like bile rising. Lying there strapped, body numb but mind sharpening, memories flooded. Not Jack the rancher in dusty boots, but Harlan the legend in tactical gear, infiltrating syndicates, the man cartels called the Phantom for ops that vanished kingpins overnight. I'd dismantled networks that spanned borders, using shadows as allies. Retired to the ranch for Elena, to wash the blood off my hands, build a life of quiet. But Derek? He'd forgotten or ignored the father who'd taught him to shoot straight, both literally and figuratively. "Locksmith's meeting me back there soon," Derek continued, my ears pricking like in a wiretap op. "Gotta secure it before he rattles any chains from that facility. Appraisers tomorrow, land's pegged at $3 million, but with the right buyer sniffing around those surveys, we hit 4 easy." Leela's voice, small. "You're pushing too hard. Elena's photos are still up, his tools in the shed." "We don't sentimentalize, Leela. Stage it sterile," he snapped, patience fraying. "Broker ran comps. With the acreage in that barn, even run down, it's prime. If Energy Scouts confirm the shale, we're talking mid-8 figures." The number hung heavy. So that was it. Not just land value, but whispers of oil beneath my soil, black gold turning my soil into a fortune. Elena and I had ignored prospectors' knocks, valuing peace over profit. But Derek, he saw dollars, not legacy. $3 million to patch his sinking ship, oblivious or uncaring of the true worth. "What if he fights back?" Leela whispered, fear creeping. "He has old contacts, bureau guys." Derek barked a laugh, cruel and barking. "Who? Ghosts from the Stone Age? They're retired or dead. And who'd believe a ranting codger reeking of hay over a CEO with court docs and psych evals? He's yesterday's news, Leela. Done." I wanted to surge up, rip 3, show him done with fists honed in takedowns. But I stayed still, letting rage forge into strategy. Desperate men err. He'd handed me motive. The van lurched onto gravel, climbing, not city ER, remote, air crisp with pine, fences looming, peeking through lashes, iron gates closing, 10-foot barriers topped with wire veiled in brush. Not a home, a lockdown joint for inconvenient elders where families paid to forget. Building, squat concrete, fake porches masking bars. No residents lounging, just silence. Wheeled out, Derek adjusted his watch, texting triumphantly, like closing a deal on my life. Leela lingered, whispering "sorry, Dad" to the wind. Inside, lobby like a sterile tomb, urine under lavender. "Sunset Meadows," a desk nurse droned. "We'll handle him." Derek handed files. "Keep him quiet, special wing for troublemakers." Pushed down a buzzing hall, away from light, I vowed. They'd planted a bomb. In room 217, I'd detonate. Room 217 was a white void, engineered to strip identity. No clock, no Elena photo, no window to Texas stars. Bed railed like a cage, hum of lights like a persistent interrogator. Stripped of wallet, belt, Elena's locket, policy. Staff cooed condescension. Time for meds, sweetie. Pink pill from Nurse Carla, sour-faced vet hating her gig. First refusal, pinned, forced down. Learned, fake swallow, tuck under tongue, spit post-exit. Risky, caught meant injections, but mind was my arsenal. Clear-headed, bureau instincts revived. Undercover in enemy territory. Mission, exploit weaknesses. Ours is catatonic and hall wheelchair, furniture to staff, but logging all. Camera, old model, 50-second loop, 8-second blind by service exit. Staff profiles, most apathetic, but Kyle, night orderly, 22, dark circles, vape reek. Desperate, overheard loan rants, tuition woes. Weak link, 1:30 a.m., propped exit for smokes, alarm bypass. Currency here, hidden stash, Elena's gold earrings, grand easy, bureau cufflinks, silver, sentimental but sacrificial. War demands loss, whispered apology to Elena.
Day 4 broke routine. Derek's cologne preceded him. Briefcase, fake cheer. Spry, Pop? Smile vanished. Signed POA for assets, medical, estate. Leaned in, sweat slick. Markets volatile, cash buyers hot, close next week. Voice too quick, eyes darting. New watch, flashy Rolex, clashing with tension. Debts massive. No, I rasped. Face blotchy, gripped bruise. Sign or suffer, I control comfort. Bribed with TV, better grub. Threatened oblivion. Yanked free, out. Stormed away, papers left. Rush meant desperation, hole deep. Ranch, ladder out. 1:45 a.m., hall silent. Fridge hum, distant moans. Edge of bed, feet cold on floor. No sleep, luxury for free men. Checked hall, nurse dozed. Moved stealthy, defying age. Exit, cardboard wedge. Pushed, Kyle outside, cherry glowing. Jumped, Mr. Harlan? Inside. Stood ground, favor Kyle, paid. Laughed nervous, no cash, Gramps. Pulled earrings, cufflinks, gleamed moonlight. Eyes widened, where'd you? Phone, burner, Wi-Fi. Shook head, no, logs trace. Leaned, phantom voice, or I spill your pill racket. Bluff, but pale. Snatched goods, glove box spare. Fetched cracked Android, charger, toad slip. Stole it. Slipped back, ghost-like. Bed tent, heart pounding. Powered on, 35% battery. Wi-Fi connected. County clerk site, ranch parcel. Not deed, recent filings. Texas Energy Board seismic variance. Clicked, legalese decoded. Shale oil reserves, extraction hub proposed. Valuation, not 3 mil, 14.2 mil with royalties. Dropped phone, fortune under my feet. Derek knew, fire sale to cover immediate debts, stealing millions. New tab, Derek civils, red flags, startup dissolved, fraud suits, 6.1 mil Vegas judgment, private holding reeking of mob, foreclosure, repos, drowning with sharks who collected in blood. Picture, not greed, survival panic, burning inheritance for air. Cold smile, motive, evidence, but trapped, needed out before acceleration. Hid phone in pillow, lay back, plotting. Rain hammered, chaos cover. Swung legs, shoulder throbbed from earlier twist. Dummy, pillows lumped, blanket curved. Old bureau evasion trick. Shoes laced, door cracked, hall empty. Corridor white, endless. Time for war. Pillow dummy, movie cliché, but dim light effective. Arranged, stepped back, passable. Phone in sock. Deep breath, stale air, last. Slipped into the corridor, vending hum, no footsteps. Sneakers soft. Exit, pebble wedge, beautiful breach. Pushed, wind slapped. Rain sideways, soaking thin clothes. Freezing but alive, freedom's bite.
Courtyard pen, perimeter 20 yards. Ran mud-slick grass, rain blurred cams, drowned steps. Fence, chain link, 10 feet, overhang. No wire, not max sec. Spot, tight mesh, toe and diamond, fingers curled cold steel. Pulled, shoulders screamed, arthritis fire. Climbed 3 feet, foot slip, chest slam, wind knocked. Hung, gasping, rain and eyes. Derek's face flashed, smug, kicking rusty. Fuel better than nitro. Footing regained, 6 feet, 8. Top, leg swing, balance precarious. Hand slip, fell 10 feet, air rush. Hit mud hard, shoulder thud, breath whoosh. Rolled, head protected. Lay, pain blinding, hip throbbing, mud blood taste. Temptation, stay down, but 14 mil reasons rose. Knees, then feet, battered, not broken. Phone intact. Oriented, service roads, avoid highway, cop bait. Logging trails, 4 miles town, storm lashed, bad hip. Walked, mud suck, wind howl like pursuers. Mile 1, adrenaline high. 2, pain stiffening. 3, shadows morphed orderlies. Rain, Derek's mock. Expired pop. Grounded, reciting codes, wire fraud statutes, abuse laws. Indictment built, step by sodden step. Mile 4, feet numb, ice. Stumbled, palms scraped. Lay, rain pound, easy close eyes. No, shale map thought, legacy theft. Stood, lights, street lamps glow, suburbs edge. Shadows to Doc Ellis's rancher. Porch, mud smear rail. Knocked 3 hard. Wait. Again. Light on. Footsteps. Door. Ellis in robe. Shotgun ready. Squinted. Dropped gun. Jack? You look exhumed. Pulled in. Need doc? Lawyer. Drink. Shower thawed ice. Mud swirled. Ellis's pajamas. Cedar. Tobacco. Table. Soup mug. Steam. Ate. Warmth spreading. Ellis watched. Story later. Set tripod. Camera. Record, prove sharp. Tests, date, prez, logic puzzles. Aced, recited Miranda, compound interest calc, 85 Super Bowl lineup, 45 minutes clarity. Ellis whistled, 99th percentile, IQ 140, bulletproof. Shield ready, I said, need sword. His phone, dialed Ramirez, ex-partner PI. Phantom, dig Derek, felonies, fraud. Details shared. Hung, Ellis poured scotch. Prison, kidnapped, drugged, stole from Elena's ghost. Criminal. War room, affidavits drafted. Ramirez arrived, tactical case, rain soaked. Older, but eyes flint. No hug, laptop spun. Timeline, Derek's shell game, borrowing cycles. Not sharks, syndicate. Elena's fund liquidated, forged cigs. Hit hard, stole from dead wife. Pictures, Derek alley meets with Rico the Weasel, launderer I'd nearly nailed 95. Washing through sale, oil cherry, transaction hides dirty cash, accessory if closes. Not save home, save name. Enough for Weasel with bank audio. To bank, stakeout.
Sedan, coffee ozone, stakeout nostalgia. Ellis's suit tight, mothballs. Across, bank granite glass. Ramirez adjusted bug, favor from an insider. Directional antenna, manager's office. Late. Narcissus wait world. Porsche screeched in, handicap spot. Derek out, wrinkled, frantic. No CEO polish. In, audio crackle. No appointment, manager oily. Cut crap, transfer now. Pause. Order medical only, not assets. Fist thud. Vegetable. Mine. If contests, won't. Drugged coma. Locked. Smile faltered, imagining. Zipper. Thud. 15K push button. 14 mil deposit bonus. Bribery. Sig? Forged. Guided hand. Lie. Keyboard tap. Printer whir. Done. Nevada holding. Footsteps fade. Headphones off.
hands shook with rage. Derek out, smiling, Porsche peel. All, every felony, interstate fed. Storage card, vindication weight. Medival, oil val, debts, tape. Ramirez, prison for grandkids' dad? Choice made drugging me. Clock, 17 hours hearing. Ellis's, affidated. And Taylor, charcoal three-piece, red tie. Ramirez grinned. Phantom back. Engine turn, hands stop. Card warm. Digital challengeable. Needed original deed. Hidden mantle clock. Home? Crazy. Security. Risks known. Trust. Docks there. Sigh. Highway out. Dusk. Purple black. Parked. Logging road. Half mile. 20 men. Gone. Tall grass. Earth. Pine. Home scent. House dark, but Range Rover. Leela inside. Tension thick. Back porch. Self-built. Door locked. New bolt. Kitchen window. Stuck latch. Blade worked. Click. In. Over sink. Silent drop. House wrong. Chemicals. Emptiness. Kitchen bare. Elena's pot's gone. Bags. Trash bulged. Untied. Elena's quilt. Stained. Grief roar swallowed. Fuel. Footsteps overhead. Froze. Hall shadow. Closet crack. Leela down. Wineglass. Phone. Sat step. Derek. Can't. Elena's things. Wrong. Hope flicker. Waking. Listened. No money need. Sharks. Spark out. New. Accomplice. Why lock? Sell one, but bitter laugh. Stubborn. Yeah. Finish. Movers tomorrow. Wire noon. Up. Heels click. Choice. Husband over family. Headlights. Black SUV. Tint. No plates. Leela ran down, terrified. Door. You early. Plans changed. Missed payment. Fraud flag. Heart hammer. Transfer flagged. Inspect collateral. Pushed in. Nice. Shame. Ransack. Silver. Paintings. Trapped. Deadbolt keyless. Window exposed. Hid. Fridge wall gap. Dust. Receipts. Breath held. Goon kitchen. Apple crunch. Cupboard slam. Stopped fridge. Wet dog smell. Door open. Light spill inches. Look down. Over. Grabbed beer. Kicked shut. Out. Exhale. 25 men. TV. Tools taken. 24 hours. Then fingers. Slam. Engine fade. Wait. Leela. Upstairs cry. Window out. Mud drop. Ran tree line. Papers chest. Back car. Shaking. Crash. Got? And certainty right. Drive fast. Court tomorrow. Take back. Oak doors 4C swung 8:59 a.m. Court air. Wax. Coffee. Misery. Measured battlefield. Plaintiffs. Derek Leela magazine perfect. Leela cream suit. Hair flawless. Sympathetic mask. Derek slate suit. Arm possessive. Lawyer. Vance. Shark. Tablet board. Deep breath. Armor on. Navy suit 90s. Loose from loss, but lion-like. White shirt crisp. Blood red tie war. Oxford's echo aisle. Heads turn. Defendant table. Briefcase scarred. Unpacked. Affidavit center. Drive right. Eval left. Pad pen precise. Leela whisper loud. God. Closet relic. Dress up. Giggle cruel. Derek. Costume. Sad. Kid in dad's clothes. Vance. Over quick. Pro se fool. Ignored. Stared certainty. Derek falter. Shift. Air chilled. Watch. 8:59. Hands folded. Bailiff. Rise. Judge Walters presiding. Smile. Walters. Ex-protege. Bureau taut. Small. white hair, eyes steel, hated abuse, waste, disrespect, trifecta hit. File, open. Miller v. Harlan, conservatorship. Appearances, Vance petitioners. Defense, stood. Jack Harlan, pro se. Vance opening, sympathy drip. Tragedy, decline. Video, me lost hardware store, evading creditor. Dementia classic. Humane, guardianship, liquidate. Sat smug. Walter's glasses, file red. Froze. Eyes to me, recognition blow, pale tremble, whisper, Agent Harlan, room silent. You're sure? Quite, honor, not defend, correct mistake. Derek up, object, confuse, sick, sit, gavel slam, contempt clear, Derek down, Leela, horror dawn, petitioners lie, dish forget, aisle wrong, docs, incompetence underestimates, hand eval, bailiff, Exhibit A, 99th percentile, not sane prove, crime report, USB up, fraud, abuse, chaos, Derek scream, Leela tears, Walters nod grim, bailiff order, Miller sit or shackled, collapse, submit B, oil map, assessment, handed, not burdened 3 mil, shale 14.2 mil royalties, gasp, Walter's brows up, protect, no, steel cover 6.1 mil debts, financials, Exhibit C, judgments, Vance object weak, Walters cold, refute, crime facilitate, Vance stammer, Derek up, doesn't matter, guardian, POA, smile cold, no, parchment out, irrevocable trust 05, life estate only, handed, can't sell, beneficiary, veteran housing fund, stole from heroes, Derek blank, gavel, denied prejudice, custody Miller, fraud, abuse, DA refer, bailiff's cuff, Leela, scream reach, gathered, past Vance fleeing, Leela, daddy, please, stop, remembered girl, betrayer, choice made, him over me, money over family, neither now, out, sunlight, Ramirez curb, got, all, diner, black coffee, freedom taste, victory.
As I sat in that diner booth, the steam from the coffee curling up like smoke from a distant battlefield, I let my mind drift back to the moments that had led here. The betrayal wasn't just the invasion, it was the slow erosion over years. Derek had always been ambitious, the kid who turned lemonade stands into mini-empires. But somewhere along the way, that drive twisted into entitlement. Elena saw it first, worrying about his get-rich-quick schemes, but I defended him. He's young, he'll learn. Now, looking back, I saw the signs, the loans never repaid, the visits that always circled back to the ranch's potential. The pain of it hit like a fresh wound, betrayal's blade twisting deeper because it came from blood. I remembered the van ride clearly. Strapped down, playing dead while their words cut like daggers. Leela's tears, were they real or part of the act? How could she do this? Elena's girl by marriage, but family. She baked pies with her, shared secrets. Now this? The facility arrival, gates clanging shut like a prison sentence. Wheeled in, Derek's wink to the nurse. Keep him quiet. Room 217's isolation fueled determination. They think me broken, but breaks heal stronger. The med routine, Carla's pandy, bitterness under tongue, flush away. Mine's my edge. Lose it, lose all. Those hours in the hall, posing as catatonic, were crucial. I watched the camera's old model loop every 50 seconds, noting the 8-second blind spot by the service exit. I profiled the staff like suspects in a lineup. Most were apathetic, just punching clocks, but Kyle stood out on the night shift.
He was 22, with dark circles under his eyes and the constant reek of vape smoke clinging to him. I overheard his rants about loans and tuition bills. He was desperate, and desperate people are the easiest to turn, just like informants in my old cases. His habit of propping the exit door for quick smoke breaks at 1:30 a.m. was a massive security flaw, bypassing the alarms because he was too lazy to go the long way. That was my opening. For currency, I had my hidden stash, Elena's gold earrings that could fetch $1,000 easily, and my old bureau cufflinks, solid silver, full of memories but necessary sacrifices. War demands loss, I whispered an apology to Elena as I prepared. On day 4, the routine shattered when Derek visited, his cologne hitting me before he did. He carried a briefcase and put on that fake cheer. "Looking spry, Pop," but the smile vanished fast. He got right to it. "Sign this. It's a power of attorney for your assets, medical decisions, and estate." He leaned in, sweat slick on his forehead. "The market's volatile, Pop. Cash buyers hot. We can close next week." His voice was too quick, eyes darting around. I noticed the new watch, a Rolex that didn't match his tense vibe. His debts must be massive. "Why the rush?" I rasped. His face turned blotchy red, and he gripped the bruise on my arm from the earlier twist. "Sign or suffer. I control your comfort here." He tried bribing me with promises of a TV and better grub, then threatened oblivion if I refused. I yanked free and told him to get out. He stormed away, leaving the papers behind. That rush meant desperation. He was in a hole so deep the ranch was his only ladder out. At Ellis's house that night after the bank stakeout, the kitchen table was littered with printouts, legal pads scribbled with notes, and half-empty scotch glasses. Ramirez paced the room, his boots thudding on the hardwood like a metronome counting down to judgment. "Jack, this tape is gold, but we need to chain it to the oil play. Show the judge the full conspiracy." I nodded, my shoulder still aching from the fence fall, but the pain was a reminder, a spur to keep going. "Link it, the wire to Nevada, that's his shark payout. Cross-reference the holding company, bet it's tied to the Weasel," Ellis chimed in, his coroner's precision cutting through. "And the med angle? My eval shows you're sharp as a scalpel, but add blood work to prove no dimension markers." We hashed strategies, probing weaknesses like in old ops. It felt like the team was back together, trust and brothers in arms that I'd missed. Ramirez pulled up more files on his laptop. "Look here, Derek's emails, hacked from a dummy account he thought was secure. He mentions underground asset, code for the oil. He planned to lowball the sale to a front buyer and pocket the difference." Fury rose in me. He stole from me, from the vets the trust was for. My voice cracked as I recalled Elena. She'd be heartbroken. Our home was meant for healing, not greed. Ramirez clasped my shoulder. "We got 'em, Phantom. Tomorrow they fall." The tailor visit was next. Giovanni's shop, dim lit with bolts of fabric like war banners. "Agent Harlan, I thought you retired." He measured and pinned. "Charcoal wool, 3-piece, power stance. The red tie, blood in the water." It wasn't just cloth, it was armor for the battle ahead, a reminder of who I was.
Thinking back to the evidence gathering, right after the facility escape at Ellis's, I pulled the phone from my sock and dumped the data. The shale reports were public, but buried deep. Energy Board filings showed surveys last month, and Derek's firm had consulted. He knew all along. Ramirez arrived fast. I dug overnight. The startup's a Ponzi, investors suing, but deeper, mob loans from the Weasel's crew. He showed photos of Derek's alley meets, handshakes in the shadows. Laundering plan. The sale inflates the value to hide dirty cash out. If it closes, you're complicit. We won't let it. We stop him now. The ranch raid built tension in my mind as I approached, nerves like before a high-stakes op. What if I get caught? Entry through the window, The house desecrated, hit like a gut punch. The bags with Elena's items brought a wave of grief. They were erasing us. Overhearing Leela's call confirmed the betrayal. She knew about the sharks, but went along with locking me up anyway. It felt like losing a daughter by law, but her heart was gone. Then the goons arrived. The ransack noise was chaos. Hiding in that tight gap behind the fridge made my heart race, sweat pouring. The close call with the fridge door open was inches from the end, light spilling so close I could feel it. Relief came when the boot retreated, but the 25 minutes of waiting were eternal. The escape sprint through the fields was exhilaration mixed with pain, papers clutched tight. The storm night escape was vivid in memory, abandoning the bed, creeping through the hall like a ghost, pushing the exit door into the rain's assault, the wind and water hitting hard, dashing across the courtyard, slipping but recovering, the fence climb, grips slipping on rain-slicked metal, internal drive pushing me, for Elena, for Rusty. At the summit, teetering before the fall crash into mud. The pain wave hit, but I assessed and moved on. The trail trek had branches lashing my face, mud up to my ankles. Hallucinations made it worse, Derek's face in the trees taunting me as a weak old man. But Elena's voice countered in my mind. "You're strong, Jack. Keep fighting." I marked the miles by body protests, but my mind built the indictment to stay grounded. Seeing the town lights was salvation, a beacon through the storm. Interactions with allies were key. On Ellis's porch, the knock echoed, door opening to the shotgun lowering. Inside, explain. The shower was a monologue in my head, washing the victim away. Soup dialogue followed. What happened? I spilled the story of the invasion, sedation, the facility. "Bastards," he said. "Setting up the camera for tests, recite the amendment." I aced it. "You're golden." Calling Ramirez. "Need a dig." His arrival skipped the embrace, straight to business. "Files here." We reviewed. It's worse than you thought. The emotional peaks were intense. The pain of betrayal hit hardest in the van with the dog kick, shattering my resolve momentarily. The facility isolation made me miss Elena acutely, her absence a void. Discovering the oil value brought anger. He stole our future. Overhearing Leela's call was like losing her heart, daughter by law, but gone. But the revenge satisfaction came in court with the evidence drop, seeing Derek cuffed, his defeat. In the diner, the bitter coffee tasted sweet with victory. I won, but lost family. Was it worth it? Yes. Integrity intact. Expanding on the court scene, Vance tried to cross me after my opening, but his attempts failed as Walters shut him down with pointed questions. Derek's outbursts only dug his hole deeper, Walters warning him repeatedly. The reveal of the oil map caused a gasp in the gallery, and the trust document to the Veterans Fund sealed it, Derek slumping in defeat. Leela's plea tugged at me, but I held firm. Reflecting further, the full weight of the journey sank in. From the initial ambush in my kitchen, feeling the needles prick and the world fading, to the calculated patience in the facility, faking compliance while plotting. The trade with Kyle was a tense negotiation, his nervous laugh turning to pale fear. The phone's glow under the blanket was my first victory, uncovering the shale oil secret that changed everything. The escape through the storm tested my limits, body screaming, but spirit unyielding. Reuniting with Ellis and Ramirez brought back the camaraderie of old missions, their support steeling me for the fight. The stakeout audio was damning, Derek's own words his undoing. Sneaking into the ranch, witnessing the desecration and overhearing Leela's complicity was a low point, but grabbing the trust deed turned it to triumph. Court was the climax, my pro se stand against their shark lawyer. Walter's recognition shifted the tide. The cuffs clicking on Derek was justice served, cold and final. Now, in this diner, I savored the peace, knowing I'd reclaimed my life.
But let's dive deeper into that night at Ellis's after the stakeout. The scotch burned going down as Ramirez laid out the connections. "See this email chain?
Derek's coordinating with a shell company tied to the Weasel. They're planning to use the ranch sale as a wash for dirty funds from Vegas. If it goes through, the feds could tie you to it. I slammed my glass down. Not happening. Ellis nodded, adding the blood work results. No markers for dementia, your brain's firing on all cylinders. We spent hours refining the affidavit, me dictating while they typed, turning raw evidence into a legal hammer. The tailor shop felt like stepping into the past, Giovanni's Italian accent welcoming. For the Phantom, only the best. As he pinned the suit, I thought of Elena picking out ties for my old trials. This red one, for when you mean business. It fit like a glove, loose from weight loss, but empowering. Evidence gathering had its own thrills. Post-escape at Ellis's, the burner phone's data dump revealed the energy board's full report. Seismic maps showed veins of shale running right under the pecan tree. Derek's consultation logs proved he knew months ago. Ramirez's overnight dig uncovered the startup's fraud, emails boasting to investors about non-existent tech, then the mob loans kicking in when it crumbled. The photos of those alley meets were grainy but clear, handshakes sealing my fate if I didn't act. The ranch infiltration was heart-pounding. Approaching through the fields, every rustle a potential alarm. Window entry smooth, but the stripped kitchen hit hard. Seeing Elena's quilt in the trash bag brought tears I blinked away. Hiding in the closet as Leela descended, her phone call confirming she knew the depths of the debts and still chose to lock me away. It broke something, but fueled the resolve. The goons' arrival amped the danger, their rough voices demanding collateral. Squeezed behind the fridge, I counted breaths as one rummaged, the door opening so close I felt the cold air. When they left with my tools and TV, threatening fingers next, I waited in agony before slipping out. The escape sequence in the storm was a test of will. Leaving the dummy in bed, I crept the hall, heart in throat. The propped door led to rain's fury, soaking me instantly. Crossing the courtyard, feet slipping in mud. The fence loomed, climb agonizing, each pull a battle against age and weather. At the top, the slip and fall jarred every bone, but I rose, pushing through the trails where wind howled accusations. Hallucinations of past ops mixed with present betrayal kept me alert, Elena's imagined encouragement pulling me to town. Ally moments were lifelines. Ellis's door opening to safety, his quick care and filming the tests to prove my sharpness. Ramirez's no-nonsense arrival, diving into files, building the case like old times. Their belief in me turned isolation to alliance. Emotionally, the van's dog kick was a shattering blow, Rusty's yelp echoing betrayal's depth. Facility nights amplified missing Elena, her absence a constant ache. Uncovering the oil theft felt like stealing our shared future. Leela's overheard words cut deep, losing her as family. But court revenge was satisfying, evidence unfolding like a trap sprung, Derek's fall a cathartic release. Diner coffee marked victory's bittersweet taste. In court, Vance's attempts to discredit me faltered under Walter's scrutiny. "Your Honor, this is hearsay." Overruled, present facts. Derek's screams only highlighted his guilt, Walter's banging the gavel for order. The oil reveal stunned the room, whispers rippling. The trust for veterans drew nods of approval, sealing Derek's fate. Wrapping it all, the journey from ambush to vindication was a war won. Invasion's shock, sedatives' fog, facilities' cage, all led to breaking free and striking back. Vows to Elena kept, legacy preserved for those who deserved it. Betrayal's pain forged strength. Revenge's satisfaction closed the chapter. Integrity stands eternal. If this tale of betrayal gripped you, smash that subscribe button, like the video, and share your own betrayal story in the comments. Thanks for watching.